Hey crafters, today we are making an ugly dress. Yeah, we're doing it on purpose. Bear with me though. What do I mean by ugly? Dresses fit a lot of different purposes. Think of the dresses you find at the stores. You're gonna find dressy dresses, for formal events. Work appropriate dresses, very tailored. I find some sexy dresses with some attitude, comfier dresses, maybe like weekend wear, casual things. A lot of those dresses are really cute and fun to wear, but I'm not going for one of those today. Ever have one of those days where you want to wear what you want to wear and not worry about what other people think about it? Maybe one of those days where you're kind of tired, you're a little grumpy, you got a job to do, and you need to feel good doing it and, be able to do your job and, yeah, be comfy and, feel good about how you look and stuff, but not worry about other people. That's when the ugly dress comes in for me. I'm thinking of a dress that isn't girly, isn't super feminine, definitely not figure revealing in any way, shape, or form. I'm picturing a dress that is comfortable, has a little attitude to it, has some styling, but it's not designed to gratify anybody except you. It's not meant to impress anybody, not meant to show off for anybody, definitely not meant to assist someone in checking you out. This is kind of the opposite of that. This is a dress that you like, that you look good in, you feel good in, and you can get your job done in. What more could you want, right? Maybe it's ugly to some other people, but if you like it, what's wrong with that? I found a pattern that I've played around with a few different times, and I find it to be pretty basic. It is a shift dress pattern that I've actually modified a little bit to make it even simpler so that my lazy self can enjoy making it. And I'm going to show you that pattern today, show you the modifications that I've played around with, and I think it's the perfect candidate for making an ugly, comfortable, make you feel good, utilitarian dress. I got some comfy fabric ready to go, and let's just get started. Let's dive in, see what you think about ugly dresses, and if you could get behind the idea. Let's get started. Hey, well, here is our pattern today. I was excited to find this one because, if we're looking for a basic dress, this is pretty darn basic looking. It's mostly just like a shift dress. There are side darts. You could add elastic to the waist, but other than that, there is not a lot of shaping. This is definitely not a form-fitting dress. It's kind of boxy. I'm enjoying the midi length. Seems like you could make it longer, you can make it shorter. Yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of shape. Looks pretty comfy. This neckline's kind of fun. Spoiler, I'm gonna change this, but doesn't that kind of look like hospital scrubs? Just a little bit, the V-neck, in like a slightly intriguing, slightly ugly way. I don't know. I do enjoy that, but yes, I will be changing that. I don't know. I think this is gonna be good, you guys. I think it'll be like just cute enough to be kind of fun to wear, but it's gonna be super comfy and just a little bit ugly, like in all the best ways, right? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking for today's project. Of course, I'm going to change a few things around because I like to complicate things. But let's look at our pattern. Yeah, we got to cut everything out. And then, yeah, we're doing a little stay stitching. We got to sew the darts. Ooh, it has pockets. Isn't that cool? That's got a good, like, I'm here to be comfy and I have a job to do vibe to it. I like pockets. We gotta put those in. And then we gotta sew the side seams together. Okay, that's cool. Let's keep going here. Oh, okay. So then they would be having you sew in this V neckline. And as much as I enjoy that detail, I'm going to skip this. I have tried making the dress with this neckline, and it looked fine. It definitely took a lot of time though. Just more pieces. You're dealing with some interfacing. And then sewing the whole thing in took a little bit of work. I still have a really hard time sewing in corners that don't pucker the fabric around it. That was tricky for me. And then I think kind of the kicker for me was that on the outside the neckline looks pretty good, but on the inside the edges are raw and you have to like zigzag stitch over them or something to just keep them from fraying. If the neckline after all that work was like nicely finished on the outside and the inside, I would consider using it more, but it was kind of a pain. So no, I'm I'll show you on the pattern. I'm going to instead just raise the neckline. Hang on. Where's our picture here? I'm just going to raise the neckline on the main body of the dress. So instead of having a V where I insert this kind of collar piece, I'm just going to raise the neckline into kind of a scoop neck on the main body of the dress. Yeah, because I'm lazy like that and I'm making an ugly dress, so I'm going to do what I want. Pah. Yeah, I'll talk you through how I'm doing that a little later. Yes, I have tried it, and yes, it does work. So once we got we got to do our zipper. Yay. Can I just say I always mess that up? Like, yeah, I always mess that up. I'm learning, people. I'm learning. Then we got our sleeves. Okay. And gather them a little bit to get them in the armhole. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have some side slits to the dress. That's kind of nice because it is basically just a straight skirt, and those slits can allow you to have more movement like that, especially since I think I'm going to make this kind of more of like a longer midi, maybe close to a maxi length. Definitely going to need those. Hemming the skirt, and I may put elastic in the waist this time. I don't know. We'll see how lazy I'm feeling. When I made this dress before, I've just made a sash or like a belt out of extra fabric and done, had a little bit of waist cinching from there. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And I'm going to eliminate some extra work with not doing the neckline and the correct way. So yeah, that's my ugly dress plan. I'm going to get out my fabric, do a whole bunch of ironing, cut out the pieces, and I'll show you what we're working with. Let's dive in. Well, doesn't that look professional? Here are my modifications to the front neckline and back neckline. You can tell I just used some pattern paper and raised this V neck, which I normally would have, and raised it into more of a scoop. To figure out how much I needed to raise that neckline, I basically took like the pattern piece for the collar, kind of just figured out how much fabric that collar would add to the front of the dress, minus seam allowances and such. And then I kind of just drew in a scoop neckline using about that much increase. I then kind of made a mock-up and realized that I needed the hole bigger to put my head through. When the V-front collar is on, there's an overlap of fabric in the front. The collar overlaps, which then allows the collar to kind of like open a little bit to get your head through. So when I raised the neckline, I needed to make my scoop a little bigger so that I could get my head through. Now, of course, I needed to make modifications on the back as well. I basically just kind of figured out how much more to add, tried it, fixed it, till it kind of worked. Yeah, that's my jam, people. I think another modification I'm going to make before I cut this pattern out, I realized that this pattern seems to fit me pretty well in the shoulders and bust area, but directly below the bust and down, it's a little baggy on me. So I think what I'm going to do is stick with my actual size, which for me is size 14. I'll stick with that in the shoulders and in the bust area near the darts, but I think under the darts I may end up kind of gradually going to the next size smaller and just making it a little bit slimmer from there. I may flare it out towards the bottom a little bit so I have more walking space. Who knows? I like to complicate things. And I am stalling because I need to go iron that fabric. So back to ironing. I'll show you the fabric in a minute. Okay, well, we got the pieces all cut out. Oh my word. Let's take a look at this fabric. All right, well, here's the right side of the fabric. It's kind of a dark teal with light aqua stripes on it. And guess what? It's flannel. And no, it's not really like high quality garment flannel. It's like kind of blanket flannel. It's not too thick though. So I think it's not going to be too hot, but I'm hoping it'll be nice and cozy. Just feeling it kind of makes me feel happy. So I feel like it'll be good. And, you know, it doesn't have to be super glamorous. We're making an ugly dress, right? We should like it and then roll with it. Cool. Let's see what we're working with. Okay. I definitely added length to the dress. You can tell these are the two back pieces. Here's the front piece. Oh yes, it's too long for my cutting board here. I added some length. I kind of measured a maxi, it's kind of a midi dress that I have, and then tried to match that length as much as I could. I basically just made it as long as I could without running out of fabric. I also lengthened the sleeves a bit. I'm not sure how long I want those to be. 3/4 would be kind of nice, but we'll see. I think I added like 4 inches or so to the sleeves. Then, of course, I've got the pockets. There are actually 4 pieces of those. And then I branched out and actually made like neck-facing pieces. You know how I changed the neckline? Well, to make the facing pieces, I basically like followed the neckline. This is the front neckline. I traced that onto some paper, and then I extended that by about 3 inches. I want it to be about 3 inches because I think I'll need about 1/2 inch to sew it on, and then maybe like 1/2 inch to fold under the edge, and then I could have about 2 inches going around inside the neck. Of course, there's the front and the back piece. If you're proud of me for doing this instead of just doing single fold bias tape around the neckline, now would be the time to be proud of me. I think I'm going to do this instead of being my normal lazy self. We'll see. This is an ugly dress after all, so do what I want, huh? Okay, so our next steps, I need to stay stitch around the neckline. That's cool. Need to do those darts. And then we got to sew some pockets on. Hang on, let's come back down. Let's take a look at that pattern again. Where are we at? Okay, stay stitch neckline, darts. All right, pinning the pocket pieces onto the back panels and the front panels. Doing the pockets always kind of boggles my brain a little bit, but we'll sew the pockets onto the front panels and the back panels, and then we can line up the front with the back and have the pockets match up. So the front pockets match up with the back pockets, and the front dress matches up with the back dress. Yeah. Anyway, and we can sew pieces together. That's cool. All right, well, let's do neckline. Let's do pockets first. Oh, and the darts.
Well, you know how I had changed the neck of the dress? Well, that meant I couldn't use the normal facing pieces, so I kind of had to make my own. I basically like traced the new neckline that I've made. I'm just gonna turn it over so white's easier to see. Basically traced it and then just made a wide strip about 3 inches that followed that. I figure I'm gonna need about half an inch to sew it on, and then maybe like half an inch to roll the edge up and like stitch down to get a finished edge. I don't know. So that's about as big as I need. And of course I need the 2 back pieces. I hope these are gonna fit. I don't know. I'm gonna try it. I'm usually a slacker person and I finish the neck like using bias tape and stuff like that. We'll see if I'm gonna be unlazy today and actually use this.
Okay, guys, we've got the side seams done. We stitched around the pockets. I also sewed the shoulder seams. Okay, here are the pockets. We did that, and then that, and then that. Oh, and yes, I did need to leave an opening for the slit. Might have to make that longer or shorter later. That's cool. Of course, we're looking at the back right now, and then here's the front. Okay, cool. It's kind of like a dress, not quite. Okay, big next steps. I need to sew up part of the back seam and then put a zipper in the rest of it. Yay, my favorite. But before I can do that, I need to see if I can put this neck facing in. Let's move this really quick. Okay. So yeah, I sewed the front neck facing to the back ones, and then I rolled this extra edge in and kind of ironed it and sewed it down. It's a little roughly because it's curved, but that's okay. Now I want to try to pin this into the neckline. This will be like the lining on the back, and it will make a nice finished edge around the neckline. Let's try it. Okay, well, I got that pinned in. Let's take a peek at this. See if you guys can see this a little bit. All right, so it's pinned in. So my next step will hopefully be to stitch all around here. Then I'm going to need to definitely do a little snips in the seam allowance to try to let that fold over. And then I'm really hoping to be able to turn this to the inside. You know, I can't do it with the pins correctly, but turn it to the inside and then just have this finished edge on the inside. I might have to tack it down, especially at the shoulders, but I think it might work. Okay, well, I'm gonna play around with this to see if I can get it to work, and then I might tackle the zipper. I might. Pray for me. And then I'll try to show you how far I've come tomorrow morning. Well, let's get started.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, we had some success last night. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's take a peek. Hey, first of all, the neck facing worked. Yay! So you saw me pinning this, right sides together on the front. And once I stitched it, I then like trimmed the seam allowance and made little slashes in it so that hopefully it could get ironed down nice and flat. And then I did top stitch that all around. I'll probably need to do a couple little stitches to like attach that to the shoulder seam just to make it stay. And then, yeah, got the zipper in. It's not perfect. It may not be entirely pretty, but you can't even see it on this fabric, so yay. Hey, I gotta say, if you are kind of zipper averse like I am, definitely check out a YouTube tutorial for maybe your sewing machine's brand, maybe even your sewing machine's model number, and then get some tips from that, and then find another one and watch more. Because the tutorial for my sewing machine is awesome, but it left out a really important detail that I had to discover in another video, and that was you're not going to be able to sew around the zipper pull using your zipper foot without making like the seam bolt or bulge out. Like, you know, if you try to sew around this bumpy thing, you're going to make like your stitching go boing outward. And so a tip that I saw in another video was start your stitching down below the zipper pull and stitch it on both sides. And then, you know, open this up so that you can move the zipper pull out of your way. You know, pull it down a bit and then stitch the top part after that. If I had known that, I would have like figured this zipper thing out earlier, because I kept going, what am I doing wrong? It keeps making my seam nasty and bulgy. Anyway, we got it. We did it without drama this time. Zipper has been zippered. We do have some next steps. Of course, we need to do our sleeves. And hang on. I have some sleeves. Hang on. Where are my sleeves? Yes! Of course, I have 2 of them. But yes, I did sew them up. I've got my gathering stitches at the top that are going to help me gather this in so I can pin it in to the armhole and stitch them down. I'm not entirely sure how long I want these sleeves to be. I think before I sew the sleeves in, I'm just going to like iron that little raw edge down a little bit, maybe like ½ inch, so that once I try the dress on, I can kind of like figure out exactly, do I want to make a bigger hem at the bottom of the sleeve? Do I want to add some elastic in there? I don't know. Probably just gonna iron that before I sew it, because yeah, got to do that. And oh, hang on a second. We also need to finish up the side slits on the dress. So it looks like we use our seam allowance and kind of roll it under and sew it down to get a finished edge on the side slits. That's cool. Then I'm kind of thinking maybe I won't put elastic in the waistband. Maybe I'll just make a belt, because I do have some extra fabric and I'm feeling lazy. So yeah, that's cool. I am realizing though, let's see here, that this dress is basically going to be a maxi length. And I think I really should have flared the skirt out a little bit more, because I think this looks kind of narrow. Whoa, sorry. It looks kind of narrow. I don't know. It may be too hard to walk in. I may have to shorten it. I'm probably going to have to make these side slits longer. Yeah, in future, if I'm doing a maxi, I think I'm definitely going to try to make it a little more A-line at the bottom, but I'll try it on, see what's going on. I think sleeves first, side slits next, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, wow, we have a dress. This is exciting. Okay, as you might have noticed, I did hem the sleeves. I actually just did a really narrow rolled hem at the bottom of those because I tried it on and I basically had long sleeves. So I figured, let's roll with that. Let's do a little hem. And then, of course, I did finish the slits. I needed to make those longer, and so I did that, and then I rolled the edges of those, sewed those down, so that's cool. When I tried it on, I realized that it is like a super duper maxi length for me. So I think I'm just going to roll up the hem a bit and keep it maxi. Hopefully this is going to be a really cozy dress. Trying it on, it seriously gave me like 1960s, maybe early 70s house dress vibes in all the best ways, because it is very comfortable. It does kind of feel like a nightgown because it's made out of flannel, but also with it being like maxi length and like and the sleeves kind of bell out a little bit. It definitely felt kind of 1960s comfy slash slightly glam just because it is a dress. So I'm loving it. I'm gonna roll with that vibe. I think what I need to do next is hem the skirt. Definitely want to go around all the raw edges with a zigzag stitch. You might have noticed that I've done that on a few. I don't have a serger, so I just do a zigzag stitch on my machine. And then instead of adding, I could add like a little tube for elastic all around the waist, but instead of doing that, I think I'm going to use the very last bits of this fabric and make a belt, which I feel like that will kind of roll with that 60s vibe that I'm getting. Put some big earrings with it. Pretend you're too cool for your bouffant, Anyway, so I got a hem. Get over there. Gotta make the belt. And then I think we're basically done, you guys. Honestly, I want to try this pattern again and see if I could do it as a one-day make. Wouldn't that be cool? It would be amazing to be able to make a dress in a day. And I'm wondering if I get good enough at this pattern, if I could do it. Hey, well, you guys, as I finish up this dress, give this video a little thumbs up if you get behind the ugly dress concept. And if you think it's a vibe, let me know. Of course, in the comments, if you're going to try making an ugly dress, have you made an ugly dress? What are your requirements for the perfect ugly dress? I'd like to know because I'm definitely making more of these. But thank you guys for going on the ugly dress journey with me. And I'll show you what she looks like when we're done.